Hey, what's going on, my good people? In the case of Naziah Harris, we covered a lot of information. And now we about to get into these searches and the evidence that they found. So let's get into it. Come on, ride with me. On February the 7th, we know that Tashiana drove Jarvis to Wayne County to turn himself in, and she took him in her 2005 Chevy Suburban. On February the 8th, Jarvis made a jailhouse call to Cordell, his shop partner. Remember what he told him?
Oh shit, yeah. You got Tasha number, right?
Yeah.
So Dig, I need you to call her one thing, nigga, and get that truck up there, nigga. Get my phone up there back seat, bro.
Okay, under it or in the back or in the back
In
thing?
the back, like right in the back of the seat, bro.
Okay.
On the second row.
It wasn't until February the 12th when Detroit police got a hold of Naziah's missing persons case. And now there's action.
So I coordinated a search for the very next day on February 13th. We went out to Ypsilanti. We conducted the search. It's a large area. It wasn't pinpointed down to a specific house. There was a lot of wooded area over there. We had multiple teams out there. There was probably over 60 people at one point. We then started going into different businesses to look for different video that we may be able to recover close to the intersection that we believed would be a good starting point in that search area.
And did you recover, or were you able to recover anything or find anything from the Ypsilanti area?
We did find some video that was eventually pulled from a gas station.
Detroit police got a hold of that jailhouse call between Jarvis and Cordell, and they interviewed Cordell on February the 13th. Cordell told them about Tashiana and that phone, and he told them about the trip that him and Jarvis took to Ypsilanti, which is why the very first search was done in Ypsilanti. Now, the only thing they found out there was video footage from a gas station. And now they're doing search warrants, and they started with Jarvis' house on Wilshire, where he stayed with Angel.
So we did a search warrant for his home. Later, I believe it was like later that night, 13th into the 14th, we had kind of worked all the way through.
And did you find anything at his house?
Yes.
And what is it that you found?
So from his home, we had recovered, there were some electronic devices. We recovered some phones, maybe a tablet, and we recovered his ID, wallet, and a firearm that was with his wallet. I believe there was 2 actual firearms, and then there was a long gun, a rifle that was in the closet.
And did that search warrant include a vehicle?
Yes.
And what kind of vehicle did it include?
It included all vehicles that we believe may be associated. At that time, we impounded a Cadillac Escalade.
So they searched Jarvis' home. The search started on the 13th of February and spilled over into the 14th of February. And while they were there, they spoke to Angel. I wonder what she had to say. Y'all think she gonna take the stand in the upcoming trial? Let me know in the comments. Because don't forget, on January the 9th, Jarvis stopped by this house after him and Naziah left that shop about 8:45. And before he checked into the Parkcrest Inn at 9:30. On February the 14th, I suspect Detroit police also searched the home of Tashiana, and here's why. Tashiana said that she was in the hospital when they did the search. And we know that they searched her home and found Jarvis' phone in her car before they interviewed her. And they interviewed her on February the 15th. Because don't forget, Cordell's interview led them to her. They also interviewed Aunt Shannon. I wonder what all she had to say. Because based off of the last video that I made, did Aunt Shannon tell them that she knew on January the 21st that Jarvis was having a sexual relationship with her niece? I wonder if she told them. And also on February the 15th, this would be the very first time that they interviewed Jarvis in connection to Naziah's disappearance. So as you can see, by this time, Detroit police, they got a lot to work with. And it's safe to assume that sometime after February the 15th is when they went to the Parkcrest Inn to investigate. Because remember, they didn't give us an exact date. On February the 20th, they went to 4803 Bedford and got that ring cam footage that showed Naziah getting off her school bus and walking down Bedford. And sometime after that, Jarvis' sister, Tiwana Butts, she called Aunt Shannon and got the number to the lead investigator. They interviewed Tiwana Butts on February the 26th, and she helped them with the timeline because she saw Naziah at the shop on January the 9th. Now, we know that Jarvis and Naziah ended up at the Parkcrest Inn that night of January the 9th. And then sometime after that, Jarvis left the Parkcrest Inn and made his way to Fort East, Alexandria. What we later found out is that he got a little girlfriend down there named Najeen. They interviewed Najeen on February the 29th.
I believe when we talked to Najeen, she couldn't remember if she didn't acknowledge seeing him that night.
Okay.
This has always been an issue for me because I wanted to know if Jarvis went to see Najeen or did he go to see somebody else? And the biggest question for me was Naziah with him when he went down there? Come March of 2024, the hunt is still on to find Naziah. And on March the 6th, they did a search in Clinton Springs, where Aunt Shannon used to live.
Police search a pond in Clinton Township in connection with the disappearance of 13-year-old Naziah Harris.
DPD and state police spent a few hours at the pond near the intersection of Gratiot Avenue and Quinn Road. Sky 4, you see there, was overhead for most of the search, and it did not appear investigators found anything.
Okay, so they didn't find anything, but I always wondered what led them to this pond.
And on March 7th, 2024, did you come into contact with the police?
Yes.
Okay, and what was the reason you came into contact with the Detroit Police Department?
I found a young lady's ID
And where did you find that ID?
directly across the street from my house.
And was it like a driver's license, school ID, or something else?
School ID, it looked like.
So on March the 7th, Miss Smith found Naziah's ID near a bus stop by Evergreen and St. Martin's. So think about this. We know that on January the 10th, Jarvis' phone was pinging in the area of 7 Mile and Greenfield and heading towards 7 Mile and Berg. The ID was found right here, damn near smack dead in the middle of both of these locations. So, do you think he got rid of her ID when he was in this area on the 10th? I mean, it would make sense, I know, but here's my issue.
And when you found that, was that the first time you had seen it there?
No, I stepped over it for 2.5 weeks before I decided to pick it up.
Okay, and is there a reason after 2.5 weeks of noticing it there that you decided to
I
pick it up?
just decided to pick it up that day. I was going out shopping. I said, well, let me get it and send it back to whomever it belongs to.
Okay, and when you picked it up, did you read the name on that ID?
Yes.
And what was the name on the ID?
Zanaya Harris.
And did that raise any concerns in your mind?
It sure did.
And what's the reason it raised concerns?
I just heard it on the news before it came out.
You heard her name?
Her name, yes.
Bless her heart. She said she stepped over this ID for 2.5 weeks prior to her picking it up. So could that ID have been out there longer than 2.5 weeks? And she just didn't notice it? Or was that ID just placed out there 2.5 weeks prior to her picking it up? Because here's the thing. If we think time, she picked up the ID on March the 7th. If we count backwards 2.5 weeks, hell, we'll even give her 3 weeks, okay? Which is 21 days. Let's give her the 21 days. We got 7 days in March. 21 minus 7 leaves us 14 days going back into February. 14 days into February puts us at around February the 16th. Y'all see where I'm going with this? So if that ID was not placed out there in January when Naziah disappeared, and it had been placed out there 2.5 weeks prior to Miss Smith picking it up. That puts us around February the 16th. And hell, Jarvis was locked up on February the 7th. That would mean somebody else put that ID out there. Interesting.
Law enforcement wrapping up their search efforts today for a Detroit teen that's been missing for 2 months. 13-year-old Naziah Harris, last seen early January.
Several law enforcement agencies gathering again today to search the Rouge River. Their focus behind Greater Grace Baptist Church near 7 Mile and Berg on the city's west side. This marks the third search effort in a week.
Last week, police searched a body of water in Clinton Township, and yesterday they searched the Rouge River on the city's west side.
On Tuesday, March the 12th, they had a ton of agencies searching near 7 Mile and Berg by that church right here. And then the day before, which would have been Monday, March the 11th, they had a search near the Rouge River on the west side, but that search was closer to 8 Mile, okay? Now, they said a tip led them out there, but I think it was nothing more than Jarvis' phone, his phone records putting him in that area for almost 2 hours on the night of January the 10th. You understand what I'm saying? So they searched March the 11th and the 12th in this area right here. But on March the 12th, things get interesting. So pay attention.
Were you working back on March 12th of 2024?
Yes.
In what capacity were you working?
I was working in a search and rescue capacity. That's our primary job, or my primary job.
Okay. And were you working alone or with a partner or a group of people?
With a team. There was a sizable team that day.
And what is it that you guys were doing?
We were responding to a missing person
Okay.
in that area.
And which area are we talking about? Where were you at?
7 Mile and Berg.
Okay. And when you were searching this area, was there anything in particular that you were told to look for?
Just nothing solid, but there were just some child-sized clothing things, just anything that could have been washed up on the riverbank. There was a storm recently, so we were in the water and on the riverbanks.
Okay, so you're kind of looking for maybe some child-sized clothing.
Yes.
Okay, and did you come across any clothing that you thought maybe would fit the description?
Yes.
Okay, and where was that at?
That was south of 7 Mile and Berg, near a abandoned structure next to a dirt parking lot. About, I can't give an exact distance, maybe 50 feet off the river.
Okay.
So they got people out there looking for child-sized clothing that had been out there no more than 2 months. Since January the 9th or the 10th. They had all them people out there searching on March the 12th. And he was one of them. Look at what he found.
I found I don't know if this is the right term for it, but like a onesie.
Okay.
It was mostly balled up in the brush with a shoe inside of it. And so I pulled I didn't know it was clothing at the time, but I pulled it out of the brush just to kind of open it up and see what it was. And then once I saw that it was clothing with the shoe inside, I just reported it to the incident command.
Do you recognize anything in this photo?
Yes.
What is it that you recognize?
The pink article of clothing in the shoe.
Okay, and when you initially saw these items, is that how you saw them?
No, they were just balled up in the brush, just kind of stuffed in there.
Okay.
So,
sorry, continue.
I pulled them out and set them that way so the detectives would see it.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to photo 69. Is this the shoe that you had found that was inside the leg of the pink jumpsuit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
And 67. Is this also a photo of them just from the behind?
Yes.
Okay, and you're the one who kind of took them apart and placed them separately like that?
I did,
Okay.
yes.
So here's the thing. He found that pink jumpsuit with that red, black, and white Nike shoe that was wrapped up in it. He unfolded it and he laid it out and took those pictures.
Okay. And were you instructed to recover those at the time?
Like bag them and bring them somewhere?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No, that wasn't.
He didn't collect the pink jumpsuit or the red, black, and white Nike shoe because, for one, it didn't match the description of clothing that Naziah was supposed to have been wearing on the day that she disappeared. Remember, early on, Grandma Annette said that Naziah was wearing powdered blue jeans, a powdered blue jacket, and a blue hoodie with some blue and white Nikes.
So, when you're out there at 7 Mile and Berg, do you have an idea of what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the idea of what you're looking for?
So initially when we were out there, again, we had the clothing description. We had the picture of her that she had sent that night or that day that she went missing on the 9th. So we were looking for the black hoodie. We were looking for, again, initially we were told blue and white gym shoes.
So no, they didn't bag and tag the pink jumpsuit or the red Nike shoe. It didn't match. But because they were considered kids' clothing, they did log the clothes and took pictures. And not only that,
There was no discoloration from the sun. You know, typically if something sits outside for a while, the sun's going to change the color that it sees, and then underneath it's going to be a different color. There was no discoloration in the article of clothing. So, and that can happen in weeks, and it's pretty quick. Depending on how much sun there is. There was no evidence of animals getting in it. There was no significant dirt. It looked very fresh.
fresh. Fresh. Fresh. So in other words, he's telling us that if those clothes had been out there since, let's say, January, there would have been discoloration, meaning they would have been a little faded. Okay? But that shit looked fresh. And I remember when I first saw the shoe, and I was talking to one of my smoke sisters, and I said, it looked like somebody just purchased that shoe and set it out there. That's how new it looked to me. But this is where they messed up. They wrapped up that search about 3:30 p.m. on March the 12th. But they left those items out there.
So as we go out to areas and search, when we leave, a lot of times large community groups may go out there, right? And they saw that we were at 7 Berg, and I know people come out there to help. There was a group that had been out there and they were recording, and they saw a pair of Nike shoes, which were the red and black. We were alerted of those on our initial search. It's documented in our river search report. But because we weren't focused on the red and black, and we were looking for blue and white Nike shoes, we left them there, but we did GPS the coordinates.
So on March the 12th, after the police search, a family member of Naziah's, who goes by the name of Roxy, went behind them and found the pink jumpsuit and the red and black Nike shoe. Roxy then called the content creator, who goes by the name Mark D, and shout out to him because he was on this case from day one. So we need people like him, okay? When he got to her, one of them called the police. I don't know if it was him, whether it was her, don't even care. Don't even matter. They called the police and they wanted the police to come to collect those items. And the police never came. And think about it. Why would they? They've already searched the area. They've already documented those items. Y'all heard the dude. They didn't collect them because it did not match and those items looked fresh. So why would they waste their time going back over there? That didn't make sense. And why was Roxy so adamant about them taking or coming to collect those items? I mean, well, if I give her the benefit of the doubt, maybe she knew Naziah had a pink jumpsuit and some red and black Nikes. I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around that. But then on March the 13th, another content creator went back to the area where they found the pink jumpsuit and red, black, and white Nike.
Feel me? Ain't nobody just motherfucking taking off their brand new suit and leaving it right here like this. And it look like it's blood right there. Look at it. I know what blood look like. Definitely giving blood, bro. And definitely a brand new ass shoe, man. This bitch ain't got no crease and clean as hell. Blood on her back. Who the fuck leaving a brand new shoe right here? Come on, man. Definitely blood, bro. If you don't think that's blood, you crazy, bro. I know what blood look like. Feel me?
So on March the 13th, we have yet another person out over here near that abandoned building in that vacant parking lot. And this guy too is documenting the pink jumpsuit and the red, black, and white Nike shoe. Now, we don't know if they touched those items or not. And that scares me because I'm thinking, can the defense use this to create reasonable doubt? You understand what I'm saying? Did all this movement around these items help Jarvis in some kind of way? I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Those clothes was left out there too long. So we got Roxy Group out there on March the 12th. Then we got this guy snooping around over there on March the 13th. Photos of the shoe was sent to Naziah's brother, Vari.
Naziah's brother then reached out to me and he sent me a picture of Naziah wearing the black and white Nike shoes.
Okay.
Once I saw she had the exact same shoes on that are depicted, that were described out there, I knew immediately where to go. I gathered a couple members of my team and we immediately went back out to where the shoes were GPS located.
Do you realize that at this point, no one has mentioned shit about a black hoodie? No one. Not him, not Roxy Group, not the Snooper. But they're all out there in the woods where this shit is, okay? So it seems like everyone is fixated on that Nike shoe, not even on the pink jumpsuit for real. They only confirmed that the shoe could possibly belong to Naziah. But the damn shoe was wrapped up in the pink jumpsuit. So all that shit go together as far as I'm concerned. But we don't know if that pink jumpsuit belonged to Naziah or not. But they definitely gonna try to figure it out.
And I want to take you to the area of 7 Mile and Berg, in the city of Detroit.
Yes, ma'am.
And were you dispatched to that location on March 14th, 2024?
Yes, it was.
Did you end up finding any evidence?
Yes, ma'am.
What evidence did you find?
We collected a pink jumpsuit, bodysuit style, and then a black hoodie that had a pair of white headphones in one of the pockets, some gloves, a towel, and a pair of red, black, and white gym shoes.
Okay.
Let's not forget, this lady right here was called out there specifically to collect the shoes in that pink jumpsuit. It wasn't until they got out there that day, on March the 14th, that they found the damn black hoodie belonging to Naziah.
And recovered the shoes. As we were there, that's when we found the black hoodie and then the pink jumpsuit that had been laid out by Agent Wyatt.
Okay.
See, again, they already knew about the pink jumpsuit and the shoes. That hoodie was new to them. You understand what I'm saying? And if I was on the jury, Juror 54 would want to know, why didn't they flag that black hoodie when they did the search on March the 12th, when they found all that other shit? I would want to know that. What made them overlook that black hoodie? I mean, because it could have been something like, it looked too aged, like it had been out there longer than 2 months. Or, it might be something simple like they didn't consider it to be kids' clothing. You understand what I'm saying? Or shit. What if it went out there when they came across the pink jumpsuit? I'm just saying. We got to look at this shit from all angles.
For record purposes, photo 30. What do we see here in photo 30?
We are looking west down. So that fence on the left of the photograph is the fence for an abandoned building at the south end of a parking lot on the west side of Berg.
We are looking west towards the Rouge River into that wooded area. You can see what is that pink jumpsuit in the background of the photograph.
Okay. And in 33, what do we see here?
That is one of the black, red, and white gym shoes that we collected from the wooded area that I had previously stated.
Okay. And would it be fair to say that that's a left foot shoe?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the left shoe that was found out there in the woods, and it wasn't even wrapped in nothing. It was found out there just like this. It looked clean as hell, don't it? I mean, almost like it's been wiped down. Does this look like a shoe that's been out there in the woods for almost 2 months? Hell nah. I can't ride with that.
And in 63?
Again, a closer shot of that pink jumpsuit.
In 78, what do we see here?
That is the right foot of the red, black, and white shoe that was recovered that was located in the trees near that jumpsuit.
Okay, and is that fair to say the right foot?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this is the right shoe, the one that was found wrapped up in that pink jumpsuit. Now, this is the same shoe, but from a different angle. This shoe look clean too, but it don't look as clean as the left shoe. That's just my opinion. Maybe it's the lighting. I don't know. What y'all think? Am I tripping? I mean, I would expect the shoe that was wrapped up to look cleaner. You understand what I'm saying?
What do we see here?
Again, we are still looking in that wooded area. That is the black jacket that was collected. It is towards the front of the photograph, kind of behind that tree branch.
And in 42,
that was a close-up of the black hooded jacket that we recovered.
Okay, and would it be fair to say that you opened up the jacket, or is this how you saw it?
We did open up the jacket to examine it, yes.
Okay.
Now, that hoodie does look dirty. I mean, I don't know if I can say 2 months worth of dirty, but it definitely looks like it's been out in the elements for a little while. You understand what I'm saying? At least a little longer than the pink jumpsuit and the gym shoes. I mean, that's just my opinion, though.
And in 45, what's in 45?
So that is looking in one of the pockets of the jacket.
And can you see what's inside the pocket at that point, or no?
That photograph, I believe there is a paper and might be the pair of headphones.
Okay. And in 47,
yes.
What are we looking at there?
So yes, that is the paper and the pair of headphones that was recovered from that pocket.
Okay.
So in the pocket of that hoodie, they found paper. I mean, it looked like tissue to me, but she said it was paper, so it is what it is. And they found a pair of headphones. Now, in the last pic that we have of Naziah, she is wearing that black hoodie and she's wearing those headphones. Look at her. So in my mind, this is definitely Naziah's hoodie.
So that's going to be the hood of that hooded jacket. We noted that there are several holes in the jacket of unknown origin.
Now, this is what a lot of us took issue with. Why does the hood look like this? What in the world could have caused this type of damage to that hood? Thoughts? What y'all thinking? I mean, we can only speculate. Now, let's look at the location of everything, because it's all right here in this picture. We have the left shoe right here. We got the black hoodie right there. We got the pink jumpsuit in the other shoe back there. Now, this just seems weird to me. Think about it, okay? Because this is how my mind works. Let's say you're trying to get rid of evidence, right? And you go into the woods and you got all these items with you. You carrying the black hoodie, the pink jumpsuit, and a pair of gym shoes. Why would you scatter the items around like this? Why not just stash that shit all together and keep it pushing? See, that's why I'm saying I don't trust this. I don't. Now, if I assume that hoodie was placed out there first, and then later on somebody went back out there and placed the pink jumpsuit and the shoes, that would mean that whoever stashed the jumpsuit and the shoes, they knew where the damn hoodie was. Because it's all in the same area. Think about this for a minute. I mean, could Jarvis have done this? Did that jumpsuit and shoes look like they had been out there longer than about 4 weeks? Because we can't forget, Jarvis got locked up on the 7th, on February the 7th. Did Jarvis have help? Because I'm thinking these things went out there at separate times. So let's not forget what all they said they found out there, because you probably missed it. Listen closely.
We collected a pink jumpsuit, bodysuit style, and then a black hoodie that had a pair of white headphones in one of the pockets, some gloves, a towel, and a pair of red, black, and white gym shoes.
Okay.
So we know about the pink jumpsuit. We know about the black hoodie. We know about the pair of Nike shoes. I mean, we got pictures and everything of those items. Hell, we just broke all that down within the last 30 minutes. But tell me this, where the hell is the towel and the gloves? She tried to slide on past that shit. I was like, wait a minute. What's going on with the towel and the gloves? Because we ain't got no photos or nothing. Okay? Nothing. So we need more details. What type of gloves were they? Rubber gloves, kids' gloves, winter gloves, work gloves? If you know, put it in the comments for us. Because outside of this lady's testimony, I ain't heard shit about no towel and gloves. And here's the thing. We know that towels can be used to clean up stuff. We know that gloves can be used to help avoid leaving fingerprints, and gloves can be used to help clean up stuff without getting your hands dirty. Y'all see where I'm going with this? Now I'm wondering if the towel and the gloves is some of the most important pieces of evidence against Jarvis, which is why they ain't give us all that in the preliminary hearing. That's going to be the shit that come out in the trial. I'm going to go back through the testimony. I'm going to make sure I ain't miss nothing. But I promise, I ain't heard nothing else about no towel and no gloves. Ain't seen no pictures or nothing. So we definitely need to be looking for that. Because I'm wondering, like, if the towel came from the Parkcrest Inn. You know what I mean? Or if the towel came from Angel's house. Maybe like from a matching set. Just something a little more concrete to help the case against Jarvis. Now we know they tested some of those items for DNA. And in the next video, we're going to break down the results. So stick with me. We still riding, baby.